I started training dogs when I was a young teenager for the 4-H. We did the puppy raising. So we took the dogs to puppy classes. We taught them to be social. We taught them to eat next to us at a table. We took them on all of our family outings. We would take them camping. We would take them out to picnics. We would take them to people's houses. So I really fell in love with that aspect of training from a very young age, but it didn't feel like there was a career there yet. Maybe I wasn't there, maybe I wasn't ready. So my first career, I was a system engineer, software system engineer. And a lot of people say that's such a big jump, but I don't feel like it is, because if you look at the system of software and the way that things communicate, one side says, this is what I'm going to do. And the other side has to say, well, then I'll do this. And the communication between all of that is defined and discussed. And I feel that in dog training, there are two sides to the leash. So there's the human side, and they're going to do this. And then there's some translation, and then the dog's going to do this. So what we're very, very good at Lead the Way is showing the context of what you're saying and what the dog is understanding, and then how we can fix that to be clear, and the communication to be like, I'm going to say sit, and you're going to put your butt on the floor. So you kind of get to that space in dog training. So yes, I started Lead the Way way back in the early 2000s, after I had decided that I was done with all that I could learn from system engineering and was ready to apply it in a way that helped to save dogs and help the overpopulation. I have an affinity for the staffy breeds, the bully breeds, and I didn't understand, after having owned such amazing dogs that were American Staffordshire Terriers, that were pit bulls, how these dogs could be so vilified and so mistreated and misunderstood. So there was kind of my avenue, and I wanted to help all of the lost pit bulls find families. So that was quite a journey, and I love all the breeds, but that was where I kind of started in the rescue and rehabilitation of misunderstanding communication between dogs and humans. So I love working the service dog angle. We have helped people who had physical disabilities and couldn't stand up on their own. They would have that anchor there. We've helped people with autism and helping them communicate and connect. The amazing spirit of the dog that just knows, like they would just put themselves in the conversation in a way that made it accessible for someone who is socially awkward, and making sure that walking through the halls of school, of high school, the dog would make sure that there was enough space that everybody felt comfortable and safe. So there's not just one story, it's kind of all of the moments of magic that dogs bring. My pack is funny and interesting, and everybody who is here at Lead the Way has come here from a rescue or a rehabilitation situation. So I have Gunner, who was rescued, and he had been living on the streets, and he has some issues with men. So he works very, very well at Lead the Way and with our staff and our team and our community. But I wouldn't really let him just make his own choices in the world, because sometimes he thinks that you have disrespected him or his pack, and he will be very happy to put you in your place. So we have Gunner. Gunner is an Amstaff. He's a black and white little pitty, funny, silly, loving snugglebug. And then I have Vixen. Vixen is a pit bull chow poodle mix. She was rescued from the Trenton shelter at Christmas time. They were all named after reindeer, and Vixen ended up staying because she was extremely dog aggressive. So we've worked her through that in our 12 years together. And rounding out my little pack is the littlest one, our little 13-pound Cocker Spaniel, who was born premature and innately aggressive from birth. So we have a whole dynamic, and it works. And we have learned so very many things along the way that is so helpful in my work with clients, because I've experienced the thunderstorms, and I've experienced what fireworks do to dogs, and I've experienced the dogs literally eating my walls because there's somebody making noise down the street with some construction or something like that. I've experienced aggressive dogs living together, dogs that don't get along, and how that dynamic is chaotic until you put some boundaries around it and some order to life, and then it can work. Everybody can get along and everybody can grow together and make progress and all of those things. So my stable pack right now is 3, and we're very happy. We do lots of great adventures together. Gunner works at Lead the Way. We tell him his clients are coming. He loves playing with puppies. He loves showing them how to be dogs. He's also very, very good at correcting in a way that isn't a bully way. He just is a very like, no, you will not act that way. I don't like you climbing on my back, and I'm not going to let you do that. So the pack works really, really well. If you're considering getting your first dog, that experience can be really amazing. It can be fulfilling. You have your best friend who goes on adventures. That is the dream. That was the dream that I've always had. And then I adopted Maya, and Maya was extremely fear aggressive, and she was a 110-pound Mastiff. So it took me a long, long time to achieve the dream. And I learned so much about myself and about dogs and about dog language, but mostly like how my behavior, my energy, my reactions to things really influence what happens next. So the Gemma Vixen, Maya was very afraid of humans walking towards her. So in my first training experience with Maya, I was introduced to prong collar training. So when people would walk towards us, I would correct her for misbehaving, for barking at them. And now I know she was afraid of them. So what I did eventually was, instead of barking at the person, I would have her watch me, and I would reward her for that good behavior, which is really what all led us all to this moment and all of these calls later. Lead the Way, what I noticed is there's an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's the same for dogs. Like, it takes a community, it takes a family, it takes exposure, it takes understanding, it takes empathy, it takes communication. Any relationship needs these things to build the strong foundations to some sort of what you want as a dream come true, success, life together. And being open to learning new things and understanding that dogs are social. They have their own language. They have their own way. And if we understand that, it makes it so much easier to communicate with them. But also understanding yourself and understanding that you have impact in whatever's being done, in what you're doing, and how the next situation is going to happen is really powerful to getting what you want. Maybe the dog is frustrating you, and instead of like maybe losing your temper and yelling, you're just like, oh, I see that you probably need to go outside and throw the ball for a while because you have a lot of energy, and instead of me getting angry, let's go do this thing for 15 minutes and then everything's chill again. So noticing that your reaction is going to dictate the next reaction from the beings around you, and how amazingly powerful that knowledge is.